Greetings, survivors and friends. SHADOWFRAX here once again with your weekly roundup and analysis of what's new in the world of Rust. And first up in this episode, the Bradley is not in the game yet, but according to Uncle Helk, we can expect to be playing hide and seek with him sometime in the next fortnight. That isn't to say there hasn't been progress, far from it. A lot of sweat and elbow grease has been poured into making sure he can not only navigate around the launch site, but also seek and indeed destroy any targets he acquires, which means ensuring there are no exploitable positions to snipe him from, and if a player does gain a tactical advantage, then Bradley needs to know how to flee as well. Not sure how far he'll stray from his patrol route in order to score a kill yet, but I know the plan is for him to one day trundle around the island's roads as well. There are sounds for his engine and treads now. The coaxial gun on the main turret is functional, and at some point he'll even be able to target multiple players, as he does have more than one weapon. As for the rest of the AI, over on testing, the nav meshes for the scientists are now functioning as intended, NPCs spawn with valid positions, and they have set populations at monuments. Still no date on these yet, but they can't be far off. When was the last time you wore or even saw the heavy armor set? It was implemented a while ago and then nerfed into obscurity, so no surprise that it's not exactly hot right now, but maybe, just maybe, this week's buffs will change that. The helmet will now block 90% of bullet and arrow damage, and the rest of the set blocks 75%. Some other armors that were a bit on the rare side included the bone set, which as of this week uses cloth instead of rope, and the riot helmet, which now doesn't require a sewing kit to craft. Not sure exactly what level of needlecraft you'd need to make one of these, but apparently only about 5 were being made on a server per month, so let's see what happens now. Seems like learnable recoil is the system that's going to be used. Most of the feedback received so far has been very positive, and so now it's been expanded to include the AK, M92 and SAP. All now have learnable recoil patterns, and their aim cones have been reduced by 80%. Recoil compensation's also been disabled for these, as it's a bit buggy and a system that's mainly intended for console gaming. In performance, one of the biggest culprits of frame rate drops in Rust is garbage collection. This basically means the game trying to recover memory that isn't in use anymore, but this sadly can take up quite a bit of processing power. Of course, it's better if the amount of garbage to be removed is lower in the first place, and this is the main thrust of current optimizations. You can read the full thrilling details on the dev blog, but good progress is being made here, with another slice of unnecessary fat being trimmed from the system this week. Texture packing is another effort to reduce overheads, and this week an additional 26 materials were targeted. This is an ongoing process, but if all goes well, there should be a saving of around 1 gig of system and video RAM. Don't you just hate respawning on one of the same 2 or 3 beaches on the map, especially on those oh so fun wipe days? Well, in this update, spawn area selection was improved to qualify more places around the map for spawning. You'll still die a lot, but now you'll get to see more of the world in the process. Resource distribution also had a pass. This affects trees and other stuff and may not be immediately obvious, although something you should notice is that not so much driftwood will be washing up on the beaches now. Graphically, this week distance fog was reduced with less blue tint all over the shop during clear weather conditions, flares were added to ceiling lights, and player names should once again appear on skulls. Now all we need are spikes to mount them on. Over to works in progress now, and here's how the gas station's looking, or garag, which as we all know is Russian for horrifically overpriced snacks. Most surfaces are now textured, although there's still work to do to get it up to scratch with props, such as the pumps being the icing on the cake. The sperm ket, or supermarket for long, is looking rather more polished, if you can call it that, with shelves having been fitted and everything coming together nicely. Not sure yet, but could we be seeing these 2 monuments in the next forced wipe on September the 7th? Stay tuned and I'll let you know. The new makeshift backpack model is done. Here's the final article. It's ready for implementation, but exactly what that implementation will be and when we'll see it is a big fat unknown at present. Intriguingly though, a new never before seen item is now in the works. Hopefully you'll recognize this as a Geiger counter, but what exactly will be the point of having one of these? We already know where the radiation is and how bad it is thanks to on-screen and audio prompts, so is this going to change? Can we expect to see a new radiation mechanic at some point? Will it be an ever-present background concern instead of in isolated pockets, and will this mean more research before plopping down your foundations? So many questions. Lastly, just when you thought you couldn't get any more handsome, the player model variations which have been threatened for donkey's months now look to be slapping you right in the chops as early as the next forced wipe. Will you be happy with the mug you end up with? Probably not. Does it really matter? Well, that's up to you, but do let me know your calm, collected thoughts in the comments down below. Perhaps Helk will implement a new paper bag hat for the more self-conscious among you. Who knows? You can support my channel by leaving a like and subscribing. Come and join the stables over on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and my Steam group too. I shall catch you all very soon, but in the meantime, keep calm and stay rusty. Cheerio.